At the start of the season, the 2019 draft class is looking pretty good, with guys like RJ Barrett and JimmerRange living up to expectations, and the emergence of possible steals such as Tyler Hero and PJ Washington. In today's video, we're going to look ahead to June of next year and predict the top picks in the 2020 draft. So if you guys like my content, make sure you like and subscribe, smash the like button if you guys are hyped for this season, and let's hop into it. Okay guys, so for the draft order, we are going based on team records at the time of this recording. This is subject to a lot of change. We have a very small sample size of games, and even once we have better record projections at the end of the season, the draft lottery is going to mix everything up. With all that said, we're starting with the number 1 pick in the Golden State Warriors, who are selecting Memphis center James WIseman. Now, while the Golden State Warriors haven't looked good to start the season and will most likely be making a lottery selection, they've been dealing with a lot of injuries, including their franchise player in Stephen Curry. So while they probably won't have the number 1 pick, this is where we're at for now. It's pretty crazy that the Warriors even have a chance at landing a guy like James WIseman. He was the number 1 player coming out of high school and is an incredible big man prospect in a draft that really lacks front court options, especially at the top. In terms of his frame, he has everything you want to see. 7'1" with a 7'6" wingspan. It hasn't really been talked about, but WIseman has filled out his frame and is going to be coming in with NBA size. He has top tier mobility of someone at his position and uses it to his advantage, running the open court and rising up to catch lobs and send opponent shots into the rafters. He didn't wait to show everyone he's a top prospect in this draft by getting 28 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 blocks in a dominating win over South Carolina State. He followed that up with a 17-point, 9 rebound, and 5 block performance. Now to this point, he hasn't surprised us with how he's getting his points. He is dominating with his size, catching every pass that comes his way, and has been running the floor with the best of them. On the defensive end, against this subpar competition, he's looked as advertised, and he's even looked pretty impressive when he switched onto some less ideal matchups. Now, as you guys may have heard, WIseman's college career might be coming to an end. He's been ruled ineligible by the NCAA for receiving some help when moving from his now coach Penny Hardaway ahead of his junior year of high school. This was before Hardaway was the coach at Memphis, but the NCAA has identified Hardaway as a booster. For now, Memphis is fighting back the NCAA and still allowing WIseman to take the court, which hopefully continues, but regardless, whether WIseman is playing at Memphis or not, he's going to be a top selection in the 2020 draft. As far as this number 1 pick goes, it depends on who has it. In the case of the Golden State Warriors, they won't hesitate. The chance to get a player that can make a huge impact for them as soon as his rookie season and hopefully secure their future would be too much to pass on. With the 2nd overall pick in the draft, we have the New York Knicks selecting North Carolina point guard Cole Anthony. This one was tough, and you can easily argue Lamelo Ball here, but based on what we've seen to start the year, this is what we have for now. Anthony was the number 2 player in high school, and his insane scoring outings made for a highly anticipated freshman season, and so far, he hasn't disappointed. He opened the year with a 34-point, 11 rebound, and 5 assist outing, where he knocked down 6 threes and then followed it up with a 24-point performance. Cole Anthony doesn't have everything you want to see. He's 6'3" with a wingspan that matches that. He's not an elite playmaker and doesn't impress you on the defensive end, but he does the most important thing in basketball at an elite level, and that's score the ball. Anthony is not limited by anywhere on the court and might be what the New York Knicks need. The point guard spot has been a huge hole for New York for a while now. The Knicks are starting to build a solid core that includes the likes of Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, and RJ Barrett. Adding Anthony to this group would really start to trend New York in the right direction, something we haven't seen in a long time. Now, Cole Anthony is far from a lock here. There's a lot of competition for this top point guard spot with guys like Lamelo Ball, RJ Hampton, Nico Mannion, and Theo Maledon, but for now, we have Anthony at number 2. With the 3rd overall pick in the draft, we have the Memphis Grizzlies selecting Georgia shooting guard Anthony Edwards. Like I mentioned before, this order is subject to a lot of change, but it's pretty clear the Grizzlies won't be fighting for a playoff spot just yet. This scenario is by far my favorite out of this whole mock draft. I love what the Grizzlies have going on with JimmerRange, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Brandon Clark. Adding an incredible two-way prospect, as of right now, my top prospect in the draft, would really make this team's future bright. Edwards was the 4th-ranked player coming out of high school and is a 6'5" shooting guard with an insane 6'10" wingspan. He has the potential to be one of the league's top players on both ends. His athleticism jumps out from the eye test, but he's far from just a high-flying dunker. It's this paired with his defensive potential, ability to create his own shot and shoot beyond the perimeter that makes him a projected top 3 pick, possibly the number 1 pick in the draft. A backcourt of him and Ja would be one of the most electrifying young duos we have ever seen. To begin his college career, he hasn't disappointed, debuting with a 24-point, 9 rebound, and 4 steal performance, where he knocked down 4 of his 7 3-point attempts. With the guys we've already mentioned and the ones we're going to get to, there's a lot of NBA potential in this draft, and I'm really excited to see how everything pans out. With the 4th pick in the draft, we have the New Orleans Pelicans selecting social media sensation Lamelo Ball. It's hard to predict exactly where Lamelo will end up landing, while he's finally starting to get some top pick treatment, and we're hearing number 1 pick buzz. As of right now, it's hard to have him as the first point guard off the board. With that said, Lamelo is an incredible prospect. He's a 6'7" point guard who throughout his well-documented career has shown what he can do as a scorer, whether that's hitting contested 30-foot jumpers or making acrobatic finishes, but over the last couple seasons, he's proven to be far from just a scorer. Since returning to high school at Spire Institute, Lamelo has shown elite playmaking abilities, which is just scary to think about considering what he has shown as a scorer and is currently standing at 6'7". Now against pro competition, Lamelo's had some great moments that get a lot of people excited about his potential, but he's also had some concerning efficiency. Through 9 games, he's getting 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists, but only shooting 35% from the field and 25% from 3. So while he isn't putting the ball in the basket like we want to see, his potential is through the roof, landing him at number 4. Now, as far as the New Orleans Pelicans go, I don't think they'll actually finish projected to land a top 5 pick, especially once Zion Williamson is back. But man, would it be crazy to have Lamelo team up with his brother Lonzo. In that scenario, you would have 3 of the most well-known young players in the world on the same roster. With the 5th overall pick in the draft, we have the Washington Wizards selecting NBL point guard RJ Hampton. Hampton was a 5th ranked player coming out of high school, and while he could have gone the college route, unlike Lamelo Ball, he decided to join the New Zealand Breakers of the NBL. RJ is a 6'5" point guard with a 6'7" wingspan. Hampton has everything you want in a guard prospect, the ability to play the 1 or the 2, has a silky smooth offensive game, but isn't afraid to rise up on a defender. As of right now, he lacks strength and needs to fill out his frame, but this is something that can be changed down the line, and plenty of players go without even addressing it and still have success in the league. The Washington Wizards will most likely be making a top 10 selection and should be taking the best point guard on the board, especially considering how strong the draft is at that position. With the health concerns of John Wall and what looks to be an established frontcourt, I like them going Hampton at 5. With the 6th pick, we have the Chicago Bulls taking Washington forward Jaden McDaniels. McDaniels is one of my favorite prospects in this draft with sky-high NBA potential. He's a 6'11" forward with the tools to be one of the most versatile scorers in the league. Defensively, he doesn't jump off the paper given his size, but as he continues to fill out his frame, this could change, and on sheer mobility, he at least projects to have versatility on that end. On the other end, McDaniels is special. It's exciting to see someone of his size that comfortable with the ball in their hands this early in their career. He can take it baseline to baseline, break down his defender, and isn't afraid to pull up from beyond the arc. In the season opener, in an upset win over 16th ranked Baylor, McDaniels had 18 points, 7 rebounds, and knocked down 1 of his 2 3-point attempts. With the 7th overall pick, we have the Orlando Magic selecting Kentucky shooting guard Tyrese Maxey. Maxey's one of the early season risers as he debuted against a top-ranked Michigan State team, getting a game-high 26 points. He's undersized at 6'3", but his craftiness and ability to score off the dribble might be enough for him to land inside the top 10. It's hard to imagine the Magic finishing projected to land here, but I do like the fit as the Magic are getting a guy with the potential to give them 20 on a nightly basis. With the 8th pick, we have Washington big man Isaiah Stewart going to the Atlanta Hawks. Stewart's only listed at 6'9", but has a monster frame and a 7'4" wingspan. He's a force on the defensive end and controls the paint, and due to his athleticism, he can finish at the basket, but hasn't shown much versatility on that end. With the Hawks needing to add to their front court, I have them going Stewart, and I think as we get closer to the draft, Stewart's stock is going to continue to rise with a lack of big man options at the top of this draft. At number 9, we have the Sacramento Kings going Danny Avdija. The Kings have been disappointing to start the year, and it looks like they might be making another lottery selection. Avdija is far from what Luka Doncic was as a prospect coming out of Europe, but has intriguing potential with his well-rounded and high IQ game at a 6'8" frame. Lastly, we have the 10th pick, where we have the Charlotte Hornets selecting Arizona point guard Nico Mannion. The Hornets will most likely be selecting higher, but if they are here, I'm going to have them take the best player on the board. They dished out a big contract to a point guard in Terry Rozier this offseason, but the Hornets aren't in a position to be drafting based on positional need. Mannion was the 9th ranked player coming out of high school and impressed to start the season with a 23-point and 9-assist performance against Illinois. Not only is this draft order subject to change, but who we have projected to be top 10 picks, I can almost guarantee you will change as this season progresses. Last year, we had guys like Cam Reddish and Nazir Little fall from their once projected top 5 selection, but we also had guys like John Morant and Jackson Hayes fly up the board and eventually land inside the top 10. Some big names that I didn't have in this top 10 would be Theo Maledon with the early play from the other point guard prospects, and Scottie Lewis with a disappointing start of this season, but overall, I really like what this draft has to offer, were, and it's very different from last year. At this point in the season a year ago, there were a lot of mocks that didn't even have a point guard or a center going in the top 10 of the draft. Now we have an incredible center prospect in James WIseman, and some mocks have as many as 6 point guards landing inside the top 10. But that's the end of you guys. You guys tell me your thoughts in the comments below. Tell me who you think will land the #1 pick and who they'll end up selecting. And if you guys like my content, make sure you like and subscribe. And the shoutouts are gonna be James, Dean, Jan, Owen, and Evil. If you guys want to shout out in the next video, all you gotta do is like the video and comment liked, and I'll shout 5 of you guys out. And with all that being said, hope you guys have a great day, and peace.